right, welcome to the podcast. So today we're going to be talking about Destiny 2 DLCs and how good they were. So we're going to give kind of a review of each of them um, since the newest one, Beyond Light, released in November. I'm here with my friend Shane, and we've been playing Destiny for quite a few years, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So, the first DLC was called Curse of Osiris. And
Well, I need to give input on this. Curse of Osiris, let me tell you something. Uh, Imagine, like, Doom 2 from, like, all those years ago. Add one level, and then make everything harder. Like, make the enemies act stupid, and you pay $10 for that. Uh,
yeah,
it, it was not very enjoyable in any way. In fact, the franchise almost ended because of how bad it was.
that's
And we had to
true.
wait about 3 months for the next DLC, which was Warmind. And I don't really know what to say about Warmind. It wasn't the
Part
last DLC in terms of how bad it was.
part of the reason that the first two DLCs were so bad is because the game or Bungie, the developers of the game, were still owned by Activision, so they were pushing, they were trying to rush DLCs to make more money. And that was actually the time where I almost fully quit Destiny. But then that leads us to Forsaken. Uh, Forsaken might be one of the best DLCs that released for Destiny 2.
I would go as far as to say it is one of the best DLCs I've seen for a game
It
because of how it Destiny 1 was a console exclusive game, and that had very good DLCs. We're not talking about that here. But Forsaken is on that level of like how good it was. It also had seasons going uh, midway through that introduced even more content. The seasons were better than the Cursor Osiris and Warmind DLCs, and that's also around the time when Bungie split from Activision to where they're now their own independent company and they are being forced to make mediocre content and push it out for $40.
Yeah. So I originally when Forsaken came out, I heard like rumblings about it, just because I had still been following some Destiny stuff. And I heard people saying like, yeah, this one's like actually unironically really good. But I didn't end up playing it actually until the next DLC came out, being Shadowkeep. Um,
Yikes.
Shadowkeep, in comparison to the previous one, being Forsaken, was not as good. Like, it wasn't quite as bad as the first two DLCs, but there was a lot of uh, mediocre content. One of the
And
biggest things
questionable decisions.
There were a lot of questionable decisions as well. One of the biggest selling points for that DLC was um, the return of the moon, which was originally also in Destiny 1, but it had not been in Destiny 2 up until that point. So it was a bit cool exploring the moon again, just because veterans of the series are familiar with it, and it was really cool to see it come back. But it it was kind of lacking as a DLC, especially after getting one as good as Forsaken. And then that kind of leads us to Beyond Light, which recently came out last November. It
And my god, is it good?
it is very good.
Uh, for a little bit of context, when Beyond Light came out, or before Beyond Light came out, they introduced a new thing called sunsetting, which is to change the meta of how the game works so that people are not using the same armor and weapons for 3 years in a row. And the way they did that was awful to the point where there was no point in really farming for loot if it was just going to go away in a year. So Beyond Light was saying, hey, that's not a good feature. We're getting rid of that. And the entire community rejoiced. And we have a bunch of these hidden little missions that are like, blowing up on like Reddit or just YouTube in general. And I'm very excited for what comes out in the future for the next, I don't know, 2, 3 years.
That's true. Especially, it's really good because at this point, currently, Bungie is free from Activision, so they're no longer working together. Which this being the first DLC that was released without being partnered with Activision, very good. Uh, it really it really kind of shows that good things are coming. Each DLC is probably going to be as good, if not better, than Beyond Light. And I want to go out on a limb and say I think that the upcoming DLCs in the next few years will possibly be the best that Destiny has ever been. But for now, it's getting better. It's really good. I recommend it. It's a very good game. But that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you, Shane, for being here to talk about the stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And yep, that's it.